Right. Hello and welcome, everybody. I am coming to you from a very warm and sunny Cape Town today. Thank you to those who are joining today's webinar. And for those who don't know me, my name is Samantha. I'm the Director of Operations at Turn Left. And in today's webinar, you are going to be getting a front row seat to hear about some of the key opportunities available on LinkedIn and really how brands can use these high impact formats to drive results across the full funnel. So it is going to be a short, compact presentation, roughly 30 minutes, and then we'll end with some questions and answers. So please do feel free to post any pressing questions into the chat. Over the next 30 minutes, we are going to cover three main topics. Firstly, it'll be a view into LinkedIn's thinking around how brands can win attention and share of mind. Secondly, we'll look at some of the content formats and strategies that are really resonating with professional audiences today. And then lastly, it's going to be a very practical discussion on how to bring these opportunities together. So I am proud to welcome two of my colleagues, Marius Greep, who's the MD of Turn Left, and Carla Partner, who is our head of sales. But before we kick off the session, I'd love them both to tell us what is something that is currently inspiring you through maybe something you've heard or seen or read recently. So, Carla, we'll start with you.
Good morning, everyone. Sure, Sam. These days, I actually find it a little bit challenging finding inspiration, but if I can say my children are now of an age that allows me some me time during holiday periods, and during this past festive break, I managed to read quite a few books. And one of the books is a book called Windfall. It's a novel by Penny Vincenzi. And in this book, it plays off in the early 1930s. And there's a lady doctor who inherits 500 million pounds. So you can imagine the amount of money it must have been, during that time, 1930s. And the way she handles this money and the fact that she can't actually operate as a doctor because those years, you're supposed to be a housewife. I just found that so inspiring. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of.
Oh, mine's good morning, everybody. Mine's a pretty quick one. It's a quote my wife shared yesterday. It's that talent you have naturally and skill is only developed after hours and hours of working on your craft. So, hard work always beats talent, right?
Amazing, guys. I love these answers. Thank you for that. Over to you, Marius, to take it away.
Brilliant. So we're going to start off this morning going through just a quick overview of everything we're going to cover. And there are really some big opportunities that are coming to LinkedIn in Q1. First, I'll just cover a little bit of the familiar favorites, the formats we all know and trust, especially video, because video is still one of the fastest growing ways to build real connection and attention, especially on LinkedIn. Then we'll talk a little bit about the shift that we're seeing in momentum with things like brand link video and connected TV ads, which is a great way to extend your reach beyond the feed. If you're running webinars or launches, event ads are really a big one. They make it significantly easier to drive registrations. And for big moments for brands, reserved ads will give you more control over visibility. And then we've got ad personalization, which helps make your messaging more relevant without really any extra lifting or need. And finally, thought leader ads. It's really a perfect way to amplify the credible voices that you have inside your organization and to build trust. So overall, the opportunity is quite simple. It's more ways to reach the right audience with the right format at the right time in Q1. But as I said, before we move on to the newer opportunities for Q1, it's really worth taking a step back and looking at the broader LinkedIn advertising ecosystem. The key message for me on this slide is that LinkedIn offers a range of content formats and touch points. And the most effective campaigns are built by choosing the formats that best align with your objective, whether it's awareness, consideration, or lead generation. At the core, we still have sponsored content. That includes single image ads, carousels, document ads, and video. It really remains the most versatile format for building reach and driving engagement and scale. Then we have sponsored messaging, which is ideal when you want a more direct, personalized one-on-one experience, particularly for high intent actions like event registrations or offer-driven campaigns. Lead gen forms are an absolutely critical component, helping brands capture leads seamlessly without requiring a user to leave the platform. And I always recommend brands test both driving users to a lead gen form and driving off platform and seeing where you get the best conversion. Importantly, critically, organic posts and updates still play a major role because strong content performance supports paid performance across the funnel. And it isn't just organic posts across your brand page, it's utilizing your thought leaders and your employees to as big an extent as possible, right? That's one of the big messages I continue to drive in 2026 is how important the individual is to the brand, extending your reach significantly, and pushing that authenticity and humanity. Finally, supporting formats like dynamic ads and text ads, along with LinkedIn pages, articles, and newsletters, and most importantly, LinkedIn Live and events, give brands additional ways to build credibility and maintain consistent engagement over time. So LinkedIn gives marketers multiple touch points, and the opportunity is to combine them strategically to move audiences through awareness and action. But how does this look like with some of the new opportunities we're going to talk about today? On the left-hand side of your screen, we're focusing on reach and awareness. And so we've got the opportunity to use high-impact formats like connected TV and brand link, which help brands show up in premium environments and drive engagement with trusted credibility at scale. Then as we move into the middle, we shift into consideration. And this is really where thought leader ads play a key role. They allow brands to build trust and credibility by amplifying real voices, and they tend to drive stronger engagement. And then on the right-hand side, it's all about conversion, turning interest into leads and sales. And this is really where formats like document or brochure ads and message and conversation ads are extremely effective because they create a more direct path to action. And I love document ads, not just for sharing white papers and thought leader ads, but also just to create interactive, immersive experiences. So you've seen brands like R&B, for example, do it really well. Standard Bank, the financial services brands really do well in utilizing the format to create stories that people can scroll through. It's not just about choosing one format. It's about using the right combination of formats to guide your audiences through the funnel in a much more seamless way. Now, the main message that we've seen for the last 3 years, year on year, is how LinkedIn continues to shift a lot of its attention to video. Right. And we're seeing video creation growing 60% faster than any other format. And what's more importantly, we see that brand impact is real. So members that are exposed to video ads are 18% more likely to recall the brand. And from a performance point of view, 55% of B2B marketers surveyed by LinkedIn report that video delivers significantly higher ROI. So it's outperforming things like case studies and demos and webinars and training. Now, even though 93% of marketers say that video delivers positive ROI, the thing that most people miss is that short form video isn't just a marketing tactic anymore. It's also become the new executive handshake. So if you get it right, it builds trust faster than anything else. So video under 90 seconds retains about 50% of viewers, and 73% of consumers prefer watching short form video to learn about products and services. So really that attention and recall and trust at scale that video offers absolutely needs to be part of your core LinkedIn strategy for 2026. Next up, we'll talk a little bit about in-feed video because it's one of the most effective ways to reach and engage professional audiences on LinkedIn through storytelling that actually drives action. The big advantage here is that in-feed video works across all objectives. It's available globally, which makes it a pretty easy format to scale for Q1 campaigns. And from a performance perspective, the numbers are strong. Video ads deliver 3 times higher engagement compared to non-video ads, right? And what's really important for lead generation is that when audiences engage with in-feed video first, those members convert more effectively, with leads coming in at 21% more cheaper. The next stage of that is to also then extend your reach beyond the LinkedIn feed using the LinkedIn Audience Network or LAN. So there's 148 million plus unique members who are only active on the LinkedIn Audience Network or the LAN, right? Meaning you're accessing additional inventory and attention span outside of just the LinkedIn ecosystem. Again, right, great metrics, great numbers, 84% lower CPM for people that are price conscious about LinkedIn and the spend that you see, and also significantly lower CPC and a lower cost per conversion. So when you combine the two, running video campaigns, both in feed and across the LAN, we've seen a 32% decrease in cost per lead, which is a meaningful improvement, right? And you can also notice the type of places that your ads appear, right? So a good example here for financial services brand, you can then get exposure across places like Bloomberg, Forbes, NASDAQ, and others. So it allows you to extend the reach while keeping your campaign relevant and at a reduced cost. And for brands that are conscious and nervous about where your ads appear, we always recommend downloading the exclusion list, ticking off the websites and the brands that you don't feel are relevant or that you have concerns about, and then uploading that back onto LinkedIn to make sure that you're only engaging across the environments or the ecosystems where it really matters to your brand. The next phase of this is something called brand link video ads, which is a powerful way to win share of mind and become known. And what makes brand link different is that it places your video alongside trusted publisher content, which immediately strengthens credibility and improves intention. And again, performance is significant. When brands use brand link to warm an audience, LinkedIn is seeing an overall 130% higher completion rate and 23% higher view rates compared to standard in-feed video ads. And you can see some example here, right? So there's a short pre-roll video placements running alongside premium editorial content on places like Reuters, the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg's, Forbes, and more. And I'll show you a quick example of what that looks like. So this is an example. Reuters is publishing content natively to their page. They've got 415,000 followers. And so Visa in this example has the opportunity to place a pre-roll before the actual content plays. So it works really well in terms of getting access to audiences like the Reuters and the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg content. So you can see here, I'll play the video quickly. You can see there's a call to action button in the top left-hand corner that takes you to the visa site. After 4 seconds, you can skip. And once automatically moves over to the news or editorial content shared by the relevant brand. So a pretty easy way to engage and to share content that reaches beyond paid platforms to native opportunities. Last one from me, just to bring BrandLink a little bit more to life with a real example. This is Jaguar Land Rover activating their Wimbledon sponsorship using sponsored pre-roll video. And what's powerful here is the contextual alignment. So their video is being served directly alongside Wimbledon-related content on LinkedIn, published by Reuters. So instead of interrupting the audience, the brand shows up in a moment where attention is already high, the topic is relevant, and the environment is trusted. And so that's the real value of BrandLink. It helps premium brands build awareness and credibility by pairing strong creative with high quality editorial content in a way that feels natural and timely. So I'm going to hand over to Carla now to take us further with some of the other opportunities.
Thank you so much, Marius. Maybe I can just add one comment on the video. And when it comes to in-feed video, I think a mistake that many brands and advertisers make is thinking that they need a Hollywood production or a very fancy commercial if they want to plan video as part of their content marketing strategy. But that is not really what you need in all cases. There's a difference between true content marketing and advertising. And if you have that commercial, that is advertising and there is a space for that. But brands that utilize in-feed video incredibly well actually use their own resources in terms of their own employees and their own people to film themselves and talk about certain topics. So that is true thought leadership content that then comes across. I recently listened to one of the head marketers at Siemens, and their CEO plays the guitar. So what they do is this CEO films himself while he talks about the guitar, and then how, learnings in playing the guitar also relates to, how he applies these decisions and strategies in business. So that's the type of content that we see really outperforms the rest. Okay, that was just one short note. Now I want to talk about connected TV. Now, as a salesperson, I speak to many, many different brands and advertisers every day. And everybody is asking about connected TV. Now, connected TV ads are becoming more popular, also in South Africa, I think for obvious reasons. With connected TV ads, you can target professionals and other B2B audiences through the streaming content that they love in an immersive, large screen environment. So you can really reach professionals at scale across high quality publishers and platforms. Now, the same targeting capabilities apply for LinkedIn that those that you would use to target audiences on the LinkedIn platform itself. During the campaign setup, it is also possible to exclude certain categories of publishers to make sure that your message is customized for each campaign and then also in alignment with your brand safety standards. Now, it's important to note that connected TV ads are not currently available for audiences in South Africa, but those brands that are wanting to target audiences in the UK, the EU, and the USA, this could be a very exciting opportunity. Some of you might have heard about Connected TV Select. This is LinkedIn's premium connected TV advertising solutions. It allows you to run ads across Paramount and NBC Universal's brand safe streaming platforms. So while leveraging LinkedIn's professional audience data for precise B2B targeting, it's also specifically applicable to those brands wanting to target audiences in the United States. The next opportunity is event ads. And I just want to see if we are moving on to the next slide. There we go. Event ads aren't a new ad format that, as Marius mentioned in the beginning. However, in December 2024, LinkedIn launched new features for live events hosted on LinkedIn under the existing sponsored content event ad format. So for those of you who don't know, event ads actually allows you to promote LinkedIn events from your page to a defined audience before, during, and after the event. So the ads are displayed in a member's LinkedIn's feed, and it's then optimized to highlight important event details. With regards to the change, the ads changed to being dynamic. In other words, showing members a different experience depending on when they see the ad. Before an event, members are shown a static image in the ad unit. Then during the event, members see the video live stream, and after the event, members see the video replay. We often, as turn left, we often assist brands with live streaming events on LinkedIn. And these are often real life events that are streamed, on the platform. So by doing so, by streaming your event online, you can actually significantly bring down the cost per person of attending the event. So people either attending online or offline. And for this reason, it is always a very good idea to promote this event on LinkedIn using these event ads. Many of the live streaming events that we assist brands with don't promote that event aggressively before the event goes live. Now, the next opportunity is something that we call reserved ads. Now, we all know that building awareness with a broad pool of potential buyers isn't optional, whether you work on a B2B or a B2C brand. We all know branding is very important. Brand advertising continues to be a cornerstone of growth for any brand. But you will know, as a marketer or as a media strategist or as a planner, you will always be faced with pressure to justify brand spend. Everybody wants leads. Everybody wants other metrics. But brand campaigns take time to pay off. They're also harder to measure, and it often feels riskier than lower funnel tactics because you cannot show the impact of branding, but you can show the impact of a lead campaign or a conversion campaign. So this is where the good news comes in. LinkedIn is rolling out tools to help marketers build that presence throughout the funnel with more predictability, personalization, and efficiency. So, drum roll for the reserved ads that will improve the predictability of high impact brand building. So, with this new reservation-based format, your ad will appear in the first ad slot on the LinkedIn feed, obviously giving your message premium visibility and consistent delivery. Your ad won't disappear in that newsfeed. As we know, everybody just keeps on scrolling and scrolling past your ad. So you can think of it as a front row real estate for your brand story, whether delivered through video ads or thought leader ads or single image ads or document ads or any other high impact format. Just note that this opportunity is currently in beta and it's only available for managed accounts with a LinkedIn representative. But if you are interested in this opportunity, please speak to us and then we can see what we can do for you and your brand. Next opportunity that I want to chat about is the ad personalisation. That's a difficult word for me to pronounce as an Afrikaans person. I am very excited about this specific opportunity. Ad personalisation is, in my view, a very exciting development from the LinkedIn's side for 2026. This feature is currently in testing and it's being gradually released to all ad accounts. Now, with ad personalization, you can tailor ad copy to individual members based on their LinkedIn profile information. In other words, you can insert macros like first name, company name, industry that people work in, or their job title into the ad copy on the ad. So it's similar to what is available with message ads for those of you that have run message and conversation ads. So instead of showing the same ad to everybody, personalized ads adapt in real time as they deliver to make each message more relevant and engaging. You can imagine yourself, if I see a post in my newsfeed and it says something along the lines of, Carla, as a sales manager at your left, you are probably faced with so-and-so challenges on a daily basis. Obviously, that is going to, get my attention more so than just a more general ad. So very exciting. And as I said, during 2026, this opportunity will roll out to all ad accounts. Then the last ad unit or opportunity that I would like to talk about is thought leader ads. Not a new ad format by any stretch, but something that we thought definitely worth talking about today. So unlike the other traditional ad formats, these ads promote posts from real people, such as leaders, influencers, or industry experts, straight into the LinkedIn feed. Before this opportunity, it was only possible to boost content and posts from a company page. But now we can also boost content and posts from your own employees or anybody else on LinkedIn, as long as you have their consent. So I know that thought leader ads might not sound like a big deal because maybe you are very familiar with this, but they really are shaking up social media advertising by offering what other ads often lack, which is authenticity. On the campaigns that I have worked on where thought leader ads are included, they always outperform any of the other ad units that are being used. There are also various studies showing that people are 3 times more likely to trust content from individuals as opposed to fully branded content. Because let's face it, nobody wants to learn from a brand. That just shouts advertising. People want to learn and people want to buy from other people. So if you are not using this ad format already, please speak to us and we will guide you to include this as part of your strategy. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carla and Marius. What a jam-packed 30 minutes it's been. And there seems to be a lot of excitement from the audience. I have 1 or 2 questions that we will jump into. So the first one, I'm just going to call it up here. is in terms of South Africa and Africa in general, what format is most popular and best performing and also most cost effective? And do you have tips for what type of content this format will engage with best? So quite a full question there. Em, do you want to take this one and I'll give the next one to Carla?
Sure. I mean, I think just sponsored content in all the different formats, whether it's a single image or video or document, still remains the best performing and probably the most cost effective. I think, especially from a document perspective, it serves multiple purposes. Whether it's, utilizing white paper or thought leaders, um, to drive engagement. It's also a great way to entice the LinkedIn system to automatically extend your reach. So if you can imagine creating a document ad and you've got between 3 and 10, images or 3 or 10 pages, as people scroll through, the LinkedIn system automatically counts each click on the document as an interaction. So it sees the document performing better. And as such, the ad auction will automatically start lowering your cost per engagement or your cost per interaction because it's seeing that people are proactively engaging more than with something like a single image or a video. The only tip, probably the most important tip that I have is when we look at most of the content that's being generated, we see that it's generated for desktop, right? Or when our agencies or when our clients sit down and they review the content, they review it on screen, like on a laptop or on a big presentation in a boardroom. And most of the content today on LinkedIn, like 80%, is viewed mobile first. And it's amazing when you see how often people don't recognize the quality of the fonts or the type that they put in, the scale of the images they use. You really have a very short amount of time to grab people's attention. And so you need to make sure that you have one single message per image or per page if it's a document, and that it's clearly visible when people engage.
Great, thanks, Em. There are a few questions around ad personalization. The first one being, so with LinkedIn's new ad personalization, are there any concerns that users might feel the ads are too personal or that their profile data feels overly public or exposed? What are your thoughts, Carla?
I think when people sign up to LinkedIn, they give consent, and everything, for their information to be used in ad units, and everything of the success of message ads and conversation ads, specific for this reason, specifically because it's a one-on-one message to a person. I doubt people will feel, bombarded by this sort of thing. It is also only available for certain objectives. So it will only start, and I think it's with awareness and maybe web traffic. So, not all objectives campaigns would be able to utilize this ad unit. So there will be a slow rollout, but my gut tells me it is going to perform exceptionally well because of that personalization.
Agreed. Second question is that it sounds really exciting. Will this be set up in the same manner as conventional targeting? And then will the system adjust based on the person seeing the ad in their feed?
Yes, it will be set up exactly the same as all the other ad units in LinkedIn Campaign Manager. And then the second question, sorry, is that with regards to frequency cap? You don't want the same person to see your ad, the same ad over and over. Exactly the same criteria will apply as with the frequency cap criteria that LinkedIn have for all other ad units at the moment.
Great. I hope we've answered that question correctly. If not, we're happy
Ask
to
again.
delve deeper, over email. So anyone is welcome to reach out. The next question is, you mentioned that content featuring people tends to perform better than design creative. Is there a sweet spot or guideline for when investing in design creative still makes sense versus prioritizing the people-led content? Or does people first content consistently outperform across most scenarios?
I mean, Marius, I'm happy if you also answer, but for me, it is important to always include an awareness portion of any campaign that you run, whether it is a consideration or a lead or a conversion campaign. That awareness portion is super important. But the LinkedIn algorithm optimized towards people, to optimize towards reaching as much people and users in your target audience as possible. But this means that they will just see that ad unit in a newsfeed and scroll on. It doesn't optimize towards engagement or web traffic, etc. That awareness is just gaining mind space in your target audience. So for that specific objective, I think there is definitely space for a designed creative as opposed to a more authentic piece of content.
Right.
I hope that answers.
Carla. And I'm going to end with one last question for Marius. I mean, so much has been shared. If there's one key takeout from today that people leave with, what do you feel that would be?
I think I'm going to stick with the thought leader perspective, thought leader ads, right? We're seeing consistently that when brands use their own people, that the engagement and the quality of lead generation that they receive is significantly higher than traditional marketing and traditional media. And so, by all means, we must continue to use what I would call traditional brand advertising, but it should be interspersed and amplified by the messages that you see from leaders, right? So a great example is if, as a brand, you're doing work around your earnings call or your financial year end, then you can use your executives to amplify that messaging and amplify the story and bring the individual perspective in. Or let's say you're launching a new green initiative or you're talking about ESG, then bring the executive or bring the thought leader or bring the expertise in to provide the human perspective around why the brand is focusing on this element, so that it just doesn't look like a whitewash or like a business objective without the humanity behind it. Like thought leader ads consistently drive that performance.
Thank you, Marius. That's a great nugget. Thank you to everybody who has joined us today. We are hoping to do our next webinar in early March. So please do keep an eye out for those details to be shared soon. But we really appreciate your time and wishing everyone a fantastic day ahead. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.